It has been over 100 days since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He rode on a Proficient political pedigree, having served as Senator representing Lagos West and 2 terms as the Lagos State Governor. Candidate Tinubu presented a formidable resume as an accountant of significant entrepreneurial depth. In the run-up to the 2023 presidential elections, his educational qualifications, age, and health status were political fodder for the opposition.
Still from the court, an Abuja-based lawyer, Osigwe Momo, has sued the All Progressives Congress and the party's presidential candidate Bola Tinubu at the Federal High Court, Abuja, for fielding a Muslim ticket.
The presidential campaign organization of the People's Democratic Party on Sunday for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to arrest and prosecute the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, over drug peddling and money laundering allegations.
Following a lively campaign trail, he took the oath of office on May 29, 2023. President Muhammadu Buhari handed over national colors and instrument of office after a guard of honor parade. The ripple effects of President Tinubu's inaugural speech transcended beyond expectations.
Is gone.
In the first week, the price of fuel skyrocketed and the cost of living became unbearable as citizens faced economic hardship. The crisis overshadowed any plans for renewed hope. President Tinubu outlined an ambitious plan for security, economy, agriculture, industrial policy, budgetary reforms, electricity, tax reform, job creation, fuel subsidy, and monetary policy in his manifesto.
The minute the man was sworn in, he did his hand like this and said, "It's gone. Subsidy is gone." You know, there's something about the body language of how he even said it that you kind of like say, deal with it. So from that minute, activities have started, which we must talk about. And then again, they told him there's a coup in Niger. I'm going to. So from that conversation has started.
First policy statement I see is subsidy removal. So my take on that is that it's ready to do the needful to reposition Nigeria as one of the developed countries in the world. But there's a need for gestation period for some of this policy to be seen having a very good effect on Nigerian populace. President Tinubu knows the problem of Nigeria and is well prepared to do something to change the narrative. But the only problem is, can Nigeria wait for such a gestation period of all these policy reforms to start yielding positive results? That's the question that we need to answer.
Even when inflation has risen astronomically, even when prices of goods and services, including the essential ones, food and energy, have jumped through the roof, but the same income, and that's highly catastrophic. So there should have been concrete palliatives on ground to cushion the effects, to water down the debilitating effects of such withdrawal of subsidy. So it was like Tinubu put the cart before the horse. There should have been palliatives before subsidy. Now, 100 days after subsidy, there is still not palliative. What we are being fed to is still propaganda and rhetoric. When he started with taking drastic and dramatic decisions, we all thought it was part of the fact that he was prepared. But I can tell you, many Nigerians are beginning to doubt. Many Nigerians have beginning to see that we have not really left the well-beaten path that has not taken us anywhere. So far, Tinubu has not done anything concrete on ground to suggest that he's substantially different from his predecessors.
Some political analysts have interpreted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's agenda for renewed hope as lacking empathy for the poor citizens. Many are stunned by the shortfalls in social security for Nigerians.
The only time Nigerians enjoyed life abundance was when we did salary increases during Obasanjo's time, when we did monetization on housing so that we could liberalize and make people be able to buy a house, when people could buy a car. Are you going to pressure Nigerians to death? Our duty is to make sure that they do not run away from the consequence of what they themselves caused. But having said that, the one who has to now fix the mess that they created has to understand that we have every right to be in a hurry, we have every right to be unbelieving, and we have every right to be saying that you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. You cannot tell us to tighten our belt as citizens, and then you're having a big government. What are we going to say? We're going to say your government is dismal, your government cabinet is elephantine, and your approach to governance is imprudent, and your economic policy around palliative and cushioning of the poor is voodoo economics.
For me, is most economic policy are somehow premature, because you remove fuel subsidy without putting a lot of things in place, like refinery working, like CNG working, providing a lot of palliative for MSME that will affect. You also float the naira without having a balance of payment, balance of trade, trade policy that will cushion it. Because if you don't produce, if you don't export, there's no way you can have a balance in that. So for me, I think that's a fall short of my expectation from him. But now that he has ministers, maybe they will now do well.
There are certain reforms that bring short-term pain. These are reforms that he was open about during the campaign. Before Nigerians elected him president, he was very clear about what his intentions were, how he was going to do it. He was very clear about the fact that he was going to unify the exchange rates to encourage investment and encourage inflows into the economy of US dollars and other foreign currencies. He was very clear with Nigerians, as were the other presidential candidates on this issue, that there was going to be the implementation of the full removal of the fuel subsidy. Everybody was in agreement that that was in the interest of the nation, even as it was going to bring short-term pain. We have been very blessed that the Nigerian people have been so fantastic, so wonderful, so accommodating in this very difficult time. We are promising our people that it will not be for nothing. This is for the fundamental economic reform of the country, which will benefit them, all of us, as well as all of our future generations. And we are not looking back.
The introduction of the Student Loan Act on June 12, 2023 was presented as an opportunity for citizens to access tertiary education. However, the resultant increase in school fees left many questioning the reason behind the introduction of the act.
There should be a structure that will be in place, and the end users must have a very good understanding of the structure, including the procedures to access the loan and the payment plan and all whatever I want to say. Now, if the only notable collateral, as explained about this loan act, is the certificate of the students or any other, or when they start work, they start deducting, then we need to ask ourselves from that perspective, are we saying that every student that completed his or her studies in Nigeria has a ready-made job waiting for that person? The student loans hypothetically may look good if that is what we believe in, but it goes beyond policy statement. It needs to come out clear in an operational way, and for it to be effective, there must be a very serious stakeholders engagement. The parents, the students, we that will absorb the student. If you say a student is collecting loan, who is paying the loan? Who are they paying the loan to? Is it the student that is collecting, or we are paying on behalf of the student directly to the beneficiary of that money? These are things that are still clumsy from that perspective of the student loan.
Amidst uncertainty surrounding the removal of fuel subsidy, President Tinubu made appointments for for critical position in accordance with the constitutional provision of a 60 days ultimatum.
May we rise for His Excellency, Mr. President. The Senate has confirmed 45 of your nominees as worthy of the task ahead of them. They are here before you this morning to take their oaths of office.
As your country honors you today, by this call to service, you must each work to make yourselves worthy in the eyes of God and all our nation's people. Your highest obligation is to restore public faith in government so that our people can once again believe that the right hands the government can show and believe in you, that the government can be a positive force for transformation and a vehicle for collective progress of this country.
As Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
I congratulate you and welcome you to the administration of renewed hope. I wish you success in this new assignment. God be with you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
One of the surprise ministerial appointments was that of Nyesom Wike, an opposition strongman who accepted to become the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
I will not be a minister. I will not.
There are many that can actually be called technocrats based on their antecedents, based on their experiences, what they have done before, what we think they have to offer. Actually, they can acquit themselves any day. But then, of course, there are also others that we believe, so to say, they are misfits. Probably also based on what we know about them. Some of them just recently have failed as governors, have failed as heads of organizations and so on and so forth. But because perhaps of political expediency and the need to pander to the political interest, they are also in the cabinet. So perhaps this is something that Tinubu should really have to revisit, maybe after some months or for some years, and still remain within the lane, I've already said, the lane of those who have something to offer, who have the capacity and the ability and the competence and the antecedent and the experience to fix multifarious Nigeria's problems.
Mr. President promised us that he was going to establish not a national unit, but national competence, a government of national competence. That was the promise he made to us. That he was not going to establish government of national unity, but rather government of national competence, which I key into. In fact, I buy that idea, deliberately buy that idea of national competence. I still believe that Nigeria is endowed with multifarious and multitudinal human resources. So it is now left for the president to meticulously select his people that work for him. And again, president should not allow any cabal, the so-called political cabal, not even to germinate, not to talk of establishing itself.
On the 14th of June, President Tinubu unified Nigerians' foreign exchange rate by floating the naira. Buyers and sellers of foreign currency in the official foreign exchange market are now subject to the forces of demand and supply. Prior to this, currency rates were set by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
The moment we allow our currency to be freely floated, the international economic environment will like it. IMF, World Bank, everybody will like it. It will actually help us to attract foreign direct investment. But what we are getting in exchange will come in the form of devalued or weakened naira value, because this is the picture. When we free float our naira without strong domestic base to export, what we have is that you have all of our naira chasing the dollar or the rand or the pounds or the euro, our naira will be chasing those currencies. And the more our naira chases foreign currencies, the more our own weakens. But if our naira chases those foreign currencies through import market, and we also have commodities where their own currency is also seeking for by way of export, then it balances. So free floating policy is also nice by President Bola Tinubu's administration, but it was also another hasty move by him. There was no discussion with Manufacturers Association of Nigeria to think about how to strengthen local production. We've not addressed, there are some manufacturing companies that cannot survive if farmers don't supply them products. Those farmers are no longer in the farm. So and then multiple taxation, multiple levies, epileptic power supply, difficult roads. So these challenges. So you feel free floating our naira related to the dollar is good. It's an investment signal, but there is no domestic base to take advantage of that signal. So what we have is foreign import find our own market as a very good destination, but in exchange we get very weakened very weak naira relative to other currency baskets of the world.
On July 9, President Tinubu was elected as the 63rd chairman of the Economic Committee of West African State, ECOWAS. A few weeks later, on the 26th of July, he faced a tough challenge of the role with the military ousting of Niger's president, Muhammadu Bazoum. The burning issue of ending the military coup and tackling insecurity divided public opinion in Nigeria. The ECOWAS decision to intervene in Niger was contentious.
The first thing the president needs to realize is that that position of chairman of ECOWAS, to me I see it as a trap. And the president must be very careful, otherwise it will boomerang. The president should forget about whatever statement coming from either America or France. Let's look at the reality of our society. If not because of balkanization of Africa that ceded many Nigerians to Niger, I can tell you that up to date, we still have close relations in Niger. Niger is being seen as the 37th state of Nigeria in terms of the human interactions. The fact that you are the chairman of the ECOWAS does not make you to sacrifice the whole Nigerians for ECOWAS. Nigeria has actually paid its due. Nigeria has suffered. Nigeria has used our own resources to finance ECOWAS in so many ways. We should focus about our country. Nigeria proposed the ECOWAS currency. It was this same francophone country that frustrated that ECOWAS currency. By now, we would have had ECOWAS currency be stronger than dollar and whatever foreign currency.
Especially in Nigeria's northern region, where cross-border ties between two countries are strong, the popular sentiment was in favor of diplomatic resolution. On August 1st, in a nationwide broadcast, the president commended citizens for their patriotism and rolled out palliative plans to cushion the effects of subsidy removal.
I had promised to reform the economy for the long-term good by fighting major imbalances that has plagued our economy, ending the subsidy and the preferential exchange rate system were key to this fight. This fight is to define the fate and future of our nation. Much is imbalance. Thus, the effect in our economy immensely profited a tiny elite, the elite of the elite, you might call them. As we move to fight the flaws in the economy, the people who grow rich from them predictably will fight back through every means necessary. But we are ready. Our economy is going through a tough patch, and you are being hurt by it, I know. The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling.
things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were, I would have taken that route, as I came here to help, not to hurt the people and the nation that I love so dearly.
On the 8th of August, President Tinubu inaugurated the Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms with a mandate to address economic problems. The committee was tasked with improving Nigerians' revenue profile and creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Nigeria is currently burdened with about 75 trillion naira in foreign and local debt. In the face of economic downturn, analysts describe Tinubu's promises as idealist, claiming the palliative plan is just paying lip service to Nigerians and cannot alleviate poverty.
Giving palliative is temporal, and it will only solve little things. And that's why we said the major thing we need is not that subsidy itself. If you ask me, that's why I faulted most governors that came to Abuja to collect 5 billion, that maybe they said they have just released 2 billion, that came to collect those money. Why don't you canvass for a refinery? Perhaps each state should say, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our state want to have modular refinery, at least 2. So imagine if each state have two modular refinery. Remember, it's an investment for the state. It will also bring availability of fuel. So these are the things I expect them to canvass, not to always come cap in hand to the federal government and collect money.
Over the past few months, Nigerians have heard diverse opinions about the president.
We did not expect this, but the government said we should tighten our bets. But this time around, the bet is getting too much tight. They should not just sit in the office. Go to villages and get feedback from villages and how people are dying of hunger. Yeah, it's good to remove the oil subsidy, fine. But before you remove oil subsidy, you put things in place that will cushion the effect of fuel subsidy.
I'm dying slow, hungry, won't finish us. How we go buy cup of rice, 200 naira? A mudu of rice, 1,700. It's too bad. We go the Jagaban come inside, make you help us. But the thing can dey worse and worse and worse. Please, men are talk about this country so that at least this fuel subsidy will come down. Now gas have come up. Now we cannot even feed our family. We cannot even do anything for ourselves. Business, to even have money to do business is so hard for us.
Nigeria is no longer a place where the poor have a voice. The poor doesn't have a voice to speak for itself in this country anymore. And secondly, talking about the palliative thing, let's be honest with ourselves, palliative is something that has to do with during the time of COVID. We didn't get it. So how sure are we that we're going to get it now?
They are not acceptable at all, because for me, I don't think it's helping us in any way. It's not. Even if it's meant to do that to help according to them, but I don't think it has anything to do with us. We are not feeling it.
A day after President Tinubu marked 100 days in office, Nigerians' 2023 Presidential Elections Tribunal judgment was delivered on September 6th. After hours of deliberations, the judges rejected all claims by the opposition parties, the People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, among others, declaring President Bola Tinubu's February election victory valid. President Tinubu's 100 days in office have been marked by economic downturn and foreign relations setbacks on the Niger issue, the rising cost of living, insecurity, and public health, some of the most pressing concerns for Nigerians, while tax reforms and investigation into the operations of the Central Bank of Nigeria's operations are laudable achievements. There are many more obstacles for President Tinubu to surmount in order to live up to his renewed hope mantra.